someone falls along, this is going to be really weird. Explain how free market can contribute to income inequality. In a free market economy, so if you guys don't know what a free market economy is, it's basically where, you're doing one thing and then go off to do another. No. So a free market economy is not regulated by the government at all, whilst a command economy is entirely regulated by the government to one thing. So, command economy will give, oh, hey, I got a viewer. A command economy. So I'm currently doing homework and I'm explaining it to myself, but I'm also now explaining it to you, to what a free market and a command economy is, if you're interested. Yeah. Hi, Bella. You got any questions? But I got a question here that I gotta do. It's called explain the free market economy. Free markets can contribute to income inequality. Basically, the wealthier get wealthier. If that makes sense. I know who this is. Hi, Izzy. Okay. You a subscriber? Market failure and externalities. Markets take into account the economic and social concerns of sellers, buyers, but do not account for any side effects that not directly reflected. In reality, an exchange in the market economy will often affect many people outside the transaction. These are called externalities. Externalities are a form of people outside the transaction. These are called externalities because they occur where the price mechanism fails to represent the true social costs of benefits and reductions. Externalities can deliver benefits to third parties, which are called positive externalities. For example, if tourism business cleans up polluted river in order to offer white river rafting expeditions, this will create a positive externality. All members of the public can benefit from the cleaner water. As a result, another example is how the whole economy benefits from high labor productivity as a result of increased completion rates for university students and apprenticeships. Negative externalities, on the other hand, have harmful effects on the economy and society. Usually, when we talk about negative externalities, we are looking at adverse over effects that production and other economic activities have on the environment. Environment. A common form of externality is pollution, which occurs when the natural environment is degraded in some way. For example, a company may decide to reduce its freight costs by transporting its goods by road rather than rail. The use of semi-trailers trucks may have a result in greater wear and tear in road surfaces, which results in higher costs to other road users from damages to other vehicles and increased costs of road repairs. In this situation, the company creates a negative externality because the environment bears the cost of road damage. This is why in Australia it is, oh, I got another viewer. Hi. In Australia, use a lot of what do you call it? Semi trucks. I got two more just then. Hi guys. Drop me a comment down below if you got any questions. But in Australia, we use a lot of semi trailers and stuff to get products to and across from Australia because it's been cheaper historically that way. We do have two railways, two main ones at least. That is the South Pacific one, which goes from the Pacific to the Atlantic Ocean and back, and you got the one that goes from South Australia to the NT, which cuts right through the middle of Australia, which is kind of concerning. Like, also, whatever. You guys got any questions about the economy? Because I've got a lot of knowledge on this. No? Okay. Negative externalities, on the other hand, have harmful effects. Yep. Contribution to increase carbon dioxide and global warming caused by the burning of fossil fuels such as from coal-fired power stations and motor vehicles. That this is a negative externality if you're interested. The loss of biodiversity that occurs because of land clearing, for example, for agriculture, forestry products, and activation for mining operations. There is a way you can go around agriculture without going, like clearing out large plots of land. Brazil, I forgot the name. The Aztecs used to use this technique. It's I think it was called farmetry. I'll look it up. I believe it's called farmetry agriculture using the wildlife, where your wildlife farm also happens to work with your other one. Agriculture alone threatens more than half. What is it? Sustainable agriculture, industrial revolution, blah blah blah. Neolithic revolution, wildlife. I can't find the word for this. Yeah, never mind. But yeah, there is a way you can do it, and the Aztecs and the Mayats, I think their name was, were really good with this. They did this a lot, and they made large cities. There's like stories. There's a story there's one particular Spanish dude who went through the entirety of the coastline of like the Aztec culture. There was these giant cities. He reported on these giant cities, and they gave him malaria. And 100 years later, they were gone, all vanished. And when they came back, they've only just recently discovered that these cities actually exist using 3D scanning of the area using drones. You could see where these were. There were giant aqueducts everywhere, like encompassed in this zone. And I find it really fascinating because they would use they had, like, it's estimated that they would support about 1 billion people, right? It was estimated that they'd do this and then also keep it agriculturally well and not like deface their natural environment by a whole lot. That's really interesting to me because we can't even support 27 million people without deforesting millions of land. And they had their own income as well. They had different agricultural jobs. I don't know if they had. Imagine Aztecs with tourism industry. That'd be funny. Or like they'd have giant concerts. I don't know if that's real or not, but just like I like to have those thought process. Hi guys, new viewers. But yeah, so different economies can work differently, and we're not sure how the economy for the Aztecs worked. We do know that they had a language system using knots, which has been recently cracked. Not cracked entirely, but kind of cracked. That was really interesting to me to find out. Yeah, Aztecs were really interesting. Hi, viewer. I can't see your username. Drop me a comment if you want. Climate change and negative externality. Climate change is possibly the greatest long-term challenge facing the global economy. Scientists define climate change as the human activities that result in the emission of greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide and methane that lead to increasing global temperatures. The activity that contributes most to the climate change is the burning of fossil fuels such as coal, gas, oil for electricity and transportation. Now in Australia, we have big mining industry, to the point where they own a lot of the news forums that you can get your information off. And they work side by side. The Liberal Party. Now we have in Australia, there's two main political parties: the Liberal and the Labor. The Labor Party is seen as lesser, even though they do better for the economy overall. The mining industry buys out the Liberal industry. Friendly Geordies has a great video on this. It's how I got half my information, other half I get from research. But he has a really great video on this if you want to go find out. Yeah. So, hey guys. You guys got any questions? Or anything you want to know? Anything you want to ask? Okay. Other causes include deforestation, and according to the United Nations, Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change average global temperatures will rise at 1.5 degrees over the next 20 degrees. 1.5 degrees of global warming will lead to more intense, longer warm summer seasons, shorter cold seasons, and increased natural disasters such as bushfires and floods. At 2 degrees global warming, heat extremes will serious large-scale impacts of agriculture and health. Climate change is an example of negative externality, while individuals the market price of energy production and other activities to produce such energy. It's my personal belief that we can do much better. You know what? If you guys can't comment, drop me a like and I'll fix it now. But if you guys can comment and just don't want to, it's fine too. Because I know that happens sometimes and it's really annoying when it does. What was I up to? Yeah, 2% global warming will heat extreme, serious, large scale impacts on the agriculture and health, which I find kind of interesting personally. Climate change is an example of a negative externality while individuals and business pay the market price of energy production and other activities and produce carbon dioxide. I feel like we can change that. Porsche has a really great way of doing so. They will become carbon neutral. They've got this this fuel type that pulls carbon dioxide out of the air and then mixes it in with another few chemicals and makes fuel with it. And that's how they kind of want to start fueling all their cars, and it's really cool and really interesting. If you guys are into that, if you guys are into cars at all, What does this do? So, yeah, got anything you want to know, let me know. So, I like talking, as you guys can tell. Climate change and, yep, government policies ensure that externalities reflected in the cost of specific goods and services so that price mechanism can reflect the true economic and social cost of productions. Government around the world have implemented policies such as carbon taxes and emissions trading schemes to address climate change by ensuring price mechanism reflects the cost of carbon emissions. Hey, viewer that I now have, welcome to the live stream, first one. How's your day been? That's cool. Become policies to ensure externalities reflecting the cost of specific goods and services, so the price mechanism, economic social costs. Governments around the world have implemented policies such as carbon taxes, emissions trading schemes to address climate change by ensuring the price mechanism reflects the cost of carbon emissions. Carbon emission tax was a thing that was in Australia for a very long while. I found a lot of things interesting, but this particular tax was implemented by the Julia Gillard system just before she ended, and the system after her, I forgot his name, took it away because a lot of people hated it and it just like imposed a lot more taxing. But it's also liberal. Julia Gillard was seen as the bad guy, even though she was trying to help the economy. Then the Liberal Party came in, and since the Liberal Party is largely funded by the mining industry, it is they took the carbon emission tax away. Plus, a lot of people didn't like it anyway, so it was a win-win for kind of both people, except for the environment. Environment lost for that. Focus of government policies around the world is achieved to net zero carbon emissions by 2050 or earlier, alongside targets for 2030 as part of the International Paris Agreement. The Australian government has been committed to reducing emissions 43% on 2005 levels by 2030, and need emission reductions become more pressing. Australia is likely to see more market intervention to address the reality of carbon emissions. That was a lot. That's really interesting. Not both parties want that. Labor Party wants to start that. They want to bring it down to net zero. You can see this in Queensland, where they tried when they were in power to get people fresh, clean energy, but the Liberal Party stopped them because they made up a lie saying that youth crime was up when it was actually going down under their party system. Yeah, so the more you know, I guess. Market failure and abuse of market power. Because of costs involved in producing, distributing, and marketing goods, services, and comes Australia. Is that better up there? That's better. Oh, that's so much better. Okay, so it's even got better lighting. So because of costs involved distributing, yep. In some market cases, only a minority of firms survive beyond the first few years of operation. Over time, industries often experience a process of consolidation in which fewer firms take a larger market share. This leads to imperfect competition, where in the form of I hate this word, oligopoly, monopoly, or monopolistically competitive structure in this market situation. The market will produce a small quantity of goods at higher prices. For example, monopolists will often restrict its production and often charge higher prices and maximize its profits. something like Gucci does and Superb does, or Supreme that did it when they were a thing. Remember their bricks? Some dude's building a house with Supreme bricks. It's hilarious. Like you can go make them in your backyard for free, but not for free. But like actually no, you probably go make them in your backyard for free if you got a chisel and you go get a free pallet of bricks, which you can pretty much get anyway. So monopolists will often restrict its production in order to charge higher prices and maximize its profits. Similarly, oligopolists may find that engaging in price competition is futile since their competitors are likely to match any price cuts. Instead of reducing prices, they will compete with advertising, brand packaging, and product differentiation activities that hold little real benefit for consumers. Really good example of this is the fast food industry. I want you to give me a guess. Who is the number one world's highest amount of fast food industry? From KFC, Burger King, I think Americans call it, Hungry Jack's in Australia, and I think that's also in New Zealand. I might be wrong there. And KFC. Which one do you think is the highest? Or two more. Wendy's and Subway. Which one out of those five is the highest? Like highest earning, most amount of areas open. You can give your guess in the comments below. Oops. Nope. Okay. Well, the highest earning is the one with the most current people to watch is the one with the most highest industries per capita is Subway of all people, which I find cool. I Macca's when I first found out, but yeah. So Subway owns the most open stores in the world, followed by Starbucks, then McDonald's, then a few other things as of 2023. I can't reference a paper, but you can look it up. Pretty sure that's correct. I might be wrong, but I do know that Subway has the most stores, and what was it called? Starbucks is like second or best. Instead of and they'll often compete by what's it called? Advertising. Because think about it this way, one of the best advertisements I've seen for a while is Subway's footlong commercial, where they pretty much stated, hey, our footlong is always going to be 12 feet, and the Big Mac has gone smaller over the years, which is true, but also shrinkflation. Yeah. And they've also gotten really more expensive everywhere else, and KFC has also done the same. They're 40%, like their chicken is like pretty much now 40% crumb, which kind of really cuts back on the flavor, if you ask me. Alright, so monopolization which occurs when a firm uses its dominant market position to eliminate existing competition. Now, there's also there's two types of monopolization. There is one monopolization, which I'm about to, and there's also natural monopolization, which I'll give you a brief a brief, what's it called? A brief description on what they are. Natural monopolization, or a natural monopoly, is when a good requires such investment, like high investments, that'd be inefficient for there to be competition. Government will regulate such monopolies, either directly or indirectly. meaning they'll either have full ownership or they'll have they'll limit their prices and how much they can spend, like how much they can charge on things, which is really cool when you think about it. And if you're interested in economics, it's just cool. And monopolization is when the current form will stop other people coming into their situation where they can that rather engage in price cutting to eliminate any competition. So competition has to match where they're at. Then big guy, their prices are here matching. Big guy drops their prices down here, not losing much. Small guy, they can't do this or else they're gonna lose all their money and just lose entirely. So what they do is they either sell out to the big guy or they just drop out of the race, which is unfair but realistic, or prevent. The government has historically operated many monopolies in Australia in order to protect its consumers from the abuse of monopoly power by private firms such as Telstra before its privatisation. Telstra in Australia is a network provider, but they also price everything. To a duopoly in Australia is the Coles and Woolworths. If you're Australian, you know, but they just kind of run off each other and set their prices willy-nilly at wherever they want, and which makes us the consumer pay for less. And then monopolies, then our government won't really attack these monopolies. They'll just say they will. Okay, price discrimination, which occurs when a firm sells the same type of goods or service in different markets at different prices. Examples of price discrimination include supermarkets, restaurants charging higher prices in an area when tourists gather, and early bird pricing for event registration. In each of these examples, business charge different prices to different consumers according to their willingness and capacity to pay. Generally, a firm will attempt to charge higher prices to consumers that it believes have a higher willingness and ability to pay, but lower prices to consumers that it thinks are less willing to be able to pay. The greater and degree of market power enjoyed by a business, the greater the ability for the firm to engage in this practice. What's that pretty much to summarize is sorry, I gotta breathe. To summarize that, the price discrimination is if there's going to be a lot of tourists, you're going to bring up your prices because you know that they're going to pay to spend their money, especially if you say XYZ. But if you know that there's not going to be much tourists and these people are very poor, they're going to bring down their prices so that they can still sell and set to that market. It's a profiting benefit to them. They can either profit $600 or they can profit $2. Either way, they'll bring it up or down depending on where you go, which makes hard to live in these areas. So if you're living there, say if they have the early bird special, you're more likely to wake up at 5 a.m., get ready before 6, go to the store at 6:30, and then get all your early bird specials, and then come home. I hope that makes sense. Exclusive dealing, which occurs when a firm sets conditions for supply that exclusive retailers from dealing with their competition under the Competition Consumer Act to purchase goods and services from other suppliers. However, in recent years, large retailers have developed complex arrangements that bypass exclusive dealing laws. For example, many items covered by Bunnings Warehouse lowest prices guarantee are the lowest because agreements prevent from being stocked anywhere else. Okay. So to summarize that one, exclusive dealing is I can only sell this. No one else can sell this. I get to choose who sells this. Now, you can go secondhand. You can go to another firm shop, and that is the lowest price. If you're enjoying this stream, drop me a like. Be appreciated. Collusion and market sharing, which occurs when firms get together and agree on pricing and market sharing arrangement, often known as a cartel, that reduces effective competition between them, and then tends to inhibit the entry of new competition into the market. Cartels may attract criminal penalties under Competition and Consumer Act. Outline the impact on firms' misuse of market power on consumers. The impact of firms' misuse of market power on consumers is basically, how do I say this? Firms' misuse of market. So the impact of firms' misuse of market power is basically when a firm or a business will grow their prices a firm will grow their price, will change their prices throughout a day